Thomas, it's up for grabs now. Thomas, right at the end.
And it's Tony Adams put through by Steve Ball. Would you believe it? Welter! Patrick Vieira is in for Arsenal and sweeps it home. It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent. Stripped it away from Carr. Henry!
And it's Arsenal! Arsenal FC! With my fun see!
It's time to go.
Yes, and good morning to you all, and hope you're all well out there. And I'm going to bring in our own it's Sunday morning, and who else can it be? Yes, it's Kenny Ken. How are you, Kenny?
I'm all good. You know, had a full days of sport. I managed to sleep through the Australian Open women, and I probably slept through today's one as well. And yesterday we had some great boxing, good fights, but we had the Merseyside Derby, we had missed chances at Turf Moor, and in between that, we had the early kickoff at St Mary's, a substitute that was substituted, and then we had the game in Hammersmith and Fulham, where Fulham have got another win. So all in all, it's been a full day package of good sporting events.
A lot of controversy, and we'll come on to that as well. We'll come on to that as well. Let's start. Let's start with the one in the morning. Chelsea went to St Mary's. Have got a very good record up there, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And against the run of play, Southampton took the lead because they totally dominated the open exchanges. And in fact, if I'm being honest, they dominated the whole game and probably should have dropped 2 points really there, because I think they should have won the game in the end. My angle on this one is I don't know what you feel. Thomas Tuchel's comments about Hudson-Odoi after the game. A lot of people now are saying, well, is it right? I saw Gary Lineker last night say, is it really right that he should come out in public and make those comments about the player? What's your feeling on this, Kenny?
I think what it is in terms of like Tuchel, in France, those comments wouldn't be a problem. In Italy, it won't be a problem. Especially in Germany, 100% won't be a problem. In Holland, it wouldn't be a problem. But in this country, we don't like that. We don't like our players, and we don't like our managers, how do I say, speaking out of turn. You know, as Aussies say, dobbing someone in. Whether someone's had a bad game or not, it's all clear to see. For instance, I know Klopp must have been livid with some of the mistakes that Alisson's been making in the game against Man City and the game against Leicester, but he won't call him out. And I think that's something Tuchel's going to have to learn. When it's going to be here for 18 months or more, then it's something he needs to adjust to. You know what I mean? It was very uncalled for, those sort of comments, especially when you've got a fantastic player in Hudson-Odoi, he's only a kid. He's not even 20 yet, I think, and he's just learning the game. I mean, there's one pork chop who said about his reputation, Hudson-Odoi's reputation is in the mud. How is his reputation in the mud? It happens in football, you know. It happened to Moise Keane with Duncan Ferguson, and it's one of the things you learn about. But Tuchel's comments, you've got to keep them to yourself. You could have just bodied him in a dressing room, even in front of players, or took it to one side. But to actually say those comments, because the other day you questioned a lot of things, right? You questioned the fact whether he's tried on it, because you said his energy and attitude, he had problems with any attitude. So basically what you're trying to say is that he's not trying. That's what it says to me, that he's sulking because he was substitute in the first place, and he's sulking probably because he's not getting the ball, things are not going for him, so he loses a bit of confidence, and that happens in football. Sometimes when you know, if someone's marking you out of the game, you know, you get annoyed, you try to do something different, and you know that little energy, that burst of pace. Someone's probably a defender's just as quick as you, and then he outmuscles you because mentally, all you think I'm never going to get past this defender. You know, my pass is never going to come off, and it happens in football. But for Tuchel to do that, I thought that was something that is a learning experience for Thomas Tuchel, and I don't think he'll be doing it again because even though some players need a bomb up the arse, it's not what we do here. Whether it's the right thing or wrong thing, again, the mentalities of English players to our friends on the continent is a lot different. Our friends on the continent, on a whole, are more football orientated. They know they expect to be called out, and they probably have the same distractions as everyone else, but they're more mentally in tune in the game because they're brought up that way. But in this country, we bring up our players to be cuddled, and that's something that Tuchel's going to have to learn, because you don't want a situation where you've only just got the job at Chelsea, and all of a sudden your man manager is called into question. Because a lot of players, right, are going to look at that and think, "Hang on here, no, he can't be doing that. When is he going to do it to me?" And that's something Tuchel's got to eradicate if he wants to succeed at a club like Chelsea.
Yeah, it's one. But do you agree he should have gone out in public, or do you think he should have kept?
Personally, it's personally. If he's seen something that he's not happy with, then he's entitled to say it. All I'm trying to say that in this country, and in the way English club footballers are pampered, and you know, like I said, cuddled, it's probably the wrong thing to say for this culture. But any other culture, then he's entitled to say what he has to say, because you look at it. A lot of Arsenal fans used to get upset with Arsene Wenger because we never thought that he dug out the players, that he cuddled them too much. You know, and you know, a lot of Arsenal fans are not happy with Mikel because he seems to be saying nice things about Willian, whilst a lot of players are thinking, "Wait a minute, he's not playing well, Willian." Yet you're saying you understand what the fans are going through, but he's really vital to me in dressing room, and he's doing a lot of good things, even though the fans are not saying it. So we can't have it both ways in terms of Arsenal fans, because it's an Arsenal show where we're lamenting the fact that Tuchel's called out Hudson-Odoi, but we were crying out for Wenger, Unai Emery, and Mikel to do the same to certain players who we thought and actually knew went up to the level and weren't playing well enough.
Well, and I think he's entitled. I mean, everyone was saying it's not good that you take a player off to substituting, like humiliating. But he's got to do what he thinks is right for the team, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, isn't he? So on that basis, I agree. If he feels he needs to change it and he doesn't feel the player is doing the business, I thought on the ball, I thought it was okay. Maybe he was referring to his off the ball.
I think that's the thing. Yeah, it's got to be his off the ball, because I think what's happened, right, is that, you know, you look at Southampton's first goal, good play that is. There was a lot of stuff that Chelsea weren't doing off the ball for that goal from Minamino. But again, I think what it is that continental coaches are very like big on what you do off the ball. You know, to play in certain teams, you're not good. They know you're good technically. That's why they picked you. But they want you to learn the game and be able to be in a situation where you're off the ball, you're doing things offensively off the ball to create a chance, i.e. you're running off the ball, making yourself in a position when you're in a space where you can pass to, or you can take that chance. And there's another thing as well, defensively, collectively, you don't want your runners to hurt you on a counter-attack or make moves, because the last thing you want in football, defensively or in midfield, is to have a spare man. If you're outnumbered in midfield and outnumbered in the last third, you're going to concede goals.
Yeah. Right, hold on a minute. I'll just do something there.
Oh, your screen.
Is that better? Is my screen
much better.
Yeah, sorry. As people are pointing out in the chat, so I thought I better do that. Yeah, I agree. He's a fascinating coach, actually. I see him on that touchline, and he was really getting irate with the team there.
He was. I'll give him that. He was.
Yeah, I think he's a good thing for Chelsea. I think he's actually a good thing for Chelsea. I think he's come in. I mean, all right, they didn't win yesterday, but I think he's come in and he's got them playing to a pattern of play. He's got his own ideas in there quite quickly, and it seems to be working. And had he been in there 4 or 5 months earlier, they might be even a stronger position than they are. But
agree with you. I just say, look, I'm not no beef with Lampard. I know a lot of Chelsea fans, love the guy and want him to get more time. But it just shows that there isn't much time in football. And Tuchel, respect to Tuchel, he has to get results. He has to get Chelsea in the Champions League, and players have to be singing from the same hymn sheet because it's clear that what Abramovich wants. He wants them to get in the top 4, and next season he wants the title. He didn't hire. That's why he's gone for a big name, Tuchel. Maybe if you look at the situation 2009, they sacked Scolari, got in Gus Hiddink. They finished the season really strong. He came third behind Liverpool and Man United, who won the title eventually. Next season they go and win a double, or albeit under Ancelotti. But that's how Chelsea need to shaping up. And there's no Chelsea. There's no seconds nowhere at Chelsea. So maybe Hudson Odoi, even though Tuchel's man management may be caught in the question, Hudson Odoi needs to realise that you're playing at Chelsea, not Arsenal. And that's no disrespect to Arsenal. I'll say that for any other club, but I'm an Arsenal fan. I know what Arsenal's about, and even though we're not Chelsea fans, we kind of know what Chelsea's about, and they take no prisoners of that club.
Yeah, I understand. I do get that. Anyway, I think in the end, a draw, and Southampton did stop that losing run as well, and hopefully they can get back to winning ways as well. I mean, for the Southampton fans. Moving on to the next one, and the West Brom. Was it Burnley game? Burnley West Brom. Jesus, West Brom had some chances to win that game, didn't they, Kenny?
Yeah, and that's the thing, especially when they were, especially even after they went down to 10 men. I mean, the sending off had to happen. I mean, even though it doesn't matter whether Ajayi thought it was accidental or not, your hand was in a position where you've altered the passage of where the ball's going to go. You had to go. In terms of West Brom, they're never going to get a better chance because they need points now. It's no good them being difficult to beat. They have to win games. Like, if you look at this yesterday, where we missed a catalogue of chances. Last week at Man United, there's no doubt Man United were a better team last week. But the chances, Deargan had, he's got to put them away. You know what I mean? Not Deargan, I think it's their new signing. Those are excellent chances, clear-cut chances, where he had to put them away. Missing those chances get you relegated.
Yeah,
End
that's
of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because West Brom are in a bit of I don't think they'll get out of that now. But I mean, I think if they would have won that, maybe there would have been a bit of hope. Burnley look as if they are secure and as well in this season. They look quite, the ones that we'll get onto them in a minute soon. On Newcastle, suddenly in a bit of bother. I'm going to go on to that. I'll go on to that Fulham game later, but let's go on to the big one of the day: Liverpool versus Everton. And I've had a little bit of a debate with Jack on Twitter this morning regarding VAR, referees, and all that. But listen, if it's down to me, and I'm gonna say this now, I think the only things that should be decided by VAR now are offsides, where there's no subjective, because there's no real subjective to it, and of course goal line technology. I'm sick and tired of seeing all these, because what I saw yesterday, right? is that the referee's decision was absolutely correct for me. The penalty, for no doubt about it, is a penalty. Well, the way you look at it, he's took him down, as you said. But even if it's accidental or whatever, he's taken him down. Yeah, and we could even say he was lucky to be on the pitch. But anyway, so that's to me is a penalty. But then you get someone in the VAR room who's told him to go and have a look at it. Luckily, he's not changed his mind like the other day, like the other day when Mike Dean changed his mind. Yeah, he's not changed his mind. But this is what I'm trying to say. That's where where it comes to me about subjective decisions, because how can I put it? That referee's made a decision. And there's another ref that's got a different view of it. It's got a different view of it. So who's right and who's wrong? That's what I'm saying about subjective. Yeah. So it's got to be up to the referee on that pitch to decide on that instant. Don't you agree with me, Kenny?
Well, I do agree. Personally, I didn't think it was a penalty in real time when I saw it, and I still have my doubts about it. But however, one thing is definite: is if Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't collide with Alexander-Arnold, he's through for tapping to make it 2-0 Everton.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I get what happened. You know, it was clumsy from Alexander-Arnold, and maybe like the move was initiated, but I always think contact in the box is contact the box. Personally, I wouldn't have given it. In terms of like what's happened with Chris Kavanagh going and not in sticking to his guns, I've got the greatest respect for him for sticking to his gun. I really have. But I think there's another issue that yourself and Jack were talking about as well that I noticed on Twitter, and I noticed in general as well, is that a lot of Arsenal fans were saying, well, why wasn't he sent off? Because David Lees was sent off. And I think that's the third issue I think you left out. And I'm going to look at it. I'm going to go look at it this way. The reason why Alexander-Arnold was not sent off is the reason why we don't have to handball anymore. It's because fans, like our fans at Arsenal, like the people in the media and the TV pundits, they've put pressure on the referees to change their minds. Now, if the media and fans didn't comment, that's a setting off. But so what's happened right now is that one thing I've learnt about VAR, and I learnt about Riley as well, is that if people shout the loudest, any decisions that are by the by, referees change their minds. Handball, after the Tottenham game where Newcastle got a last-minute penalty, whereas Eric Dyer, it hit his bicep and it was a handball. I thought it was an handball anyway. A lot of Arsenal fans are saying, oh, the game's dead, and blah, blah. And that's gone all the way through to people like Jamie, the media. I think Jamie Redknapp was in the studio. And he went all over the newspapers. He went all over the world where people talk about the Premiership. They changed their mind, the referees. Now, let's rewind back to the Wolves game and the game later between Man United and Southampton. Or was it the day afterwards? Same situations, penalties, last man, both sending offs, one's rescinded. All of a sudden, the media are having a go at referees, saying the game is dead, you should stick to the double jeopardy and blah, blah. Well, look what happened. Yesterday, same situation. Referees have now gone back, got pressured, so that you can't put the genie back in a bottle. No,
actually, I did think that was a red card yesterday, by the way.
You did?
Yeah, I did think it was a red card because if you look at it, it's the same as Louise. He's got red carded. Goal scoring opportunity.
I know that, and I agree with you. I agree with you that it is. But what I'm trying to say is that Arsenal fans are saying why it wasn't given, and I'm saying the reason why it wasn't given because of media pressure.
Yeah,
we've seen it with our own eyes.
This is the problem. I think they've got to ignore all the shit. They've got to ignore it and just go by what the rules state.
They won't because you look what happened with Mike Dean. Look what happened with Mike Dean.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he's
Well,
getting death threats. He's getting death threats. Now, whoever, other referees are getting abuse and threats as well. So what's happened, right, is that something that has been well-intentioned, like VAR, a very good vehicle to try and make things fair. It seems like and the rule changes, I think, are fair as well. But because certain people put out in the media and certain managers don't like it, all they have to do is scream the loudest and referees back down. We can't have. Who runs the game? Who are in charge on the field? Is it the media? Is it Sky Sports? Is it BT Sports? Is it ESPN? Is it NBC? Is it like the Daily Mail? Is it the Sun? Is it ex-players like Richards, Redknapp, Keane? Who's in charge? I thought the referee was in charge, because I'm learning a lot of things now with all this sort of social media, that you shout the loudest, you dictate our game's referees. Like, so which means penalties that are penalties because of the rule that was brought in this season are no longer being given. Sending offs that should be sent offs are not happening because you guys are moaning, complaining, and intimidating referees. And the minute you intimidate referees, you're never going to get a fairer outcome and a consistent level of decisions. It's not going to happen. And until, people in the media keep their gobs shut, mind their own business, and just concentrate on the match, stop playing to the galleries. And as long as football fans accept results, they go their way and say, look, it's 38 games. You can't be unlucky after 38 games. Until they keep their big mouths shut, referees are going to be always making decisions and backing down on proper decisions. And then what will happen is that teams who should be getting penalties won't be getting penalties. Players that should be sent off won't be getting sent off. Simple.
Exactly. I totally agree. But I will say, and I'm going to. I had this with Jack this morning. I love his passion. I love Jack's passion. Don't get me wrong. I love Jack. Lovely guy, and always like debating with him. The only thing I will say, he said in between 1999 and 2006, if we had VAR, Arsenal would have had one more titles. But my argument back would be, if we had VAR, we wouldn't have been invincible.
That's Philip Perez's penalty. Perez's penalty. Yeah.
So you can say all this thing, and you know what? I do agree on one game. I remember the 50th game, and I watch it backwards and forwards. And Riley was a disgrace on that day, absolute disgrace.
There's no doubt it was a disgrace, but the problem is that Arsenal were victims of their reputation. Reputation, because what was happening is that Arsenal had this reputation of these, big lads, athletes who can mix with everyone else. They were the ones who were allegedly kicking teams off the park, because under Arsene Wenger we had about how many sending-offs? I mean, it was in the 60s and everything. Yeah. So teams thought, right, because Arsenal got this reputation, referees. And then because they thought that Arsene Wenger encouraged this sort of hard man reputation, teams thought, right, let's play the referee. Let's when we tackle Arsenal players, let's not just tackle them. Let's follow through and leave something in there. And then what will happen is that we'll see how far the referee lets it go. And the referee, an Arsenal Man United game, 2004, went, right, boom, it's Arsenal Man United, I'm letting it go. And that's why they got away with murder that game.
No, what I didn't like about that game, but I can see why they went against it, because Wenger was very, very, and this doesn't help because he always argued about it, didn't he? Wenger was always arguing about referee confronting them, and I think in their minds they turned against him a lot, and this is and we're still paying a lot of that price as well. And
of course we are. Of course we are. It's like
we keep arguing about decisions. But the thing is, what I didn't like about that game, and what I found really horrible about that game, was that, and it's clear that he was playing with the United fans as well, because if you watch that game, there was tackles on. I think it was loads. I think it was Neville must have done our players so many times without even getting a booking. and then one challenge by one Arsenal player, and he got the yellow card out. So you have to be suspicious about something like that, because
I think what's happening, right, is that was when Arsenal's decline started. I still cite Arsenal decline on that 50th game. That's when we declined, and that's when we started to become Barcelona. And after that, we've never recovered as a football team. We've never challenged since then. We've never been feared by teams, because what's happened is that Alex Ferguson's Man United, because they tried it 2 years before when they beat us 2-0, where they tried to stop us from playing. Remember when I think Scholes got one of the goals, and because we had the Remy Shaban goal, if you remember rightly, 2 years before that, and they tried doing that, and then we came back at them and said, no, you're not having that. But after that, teams learnt from what Man United did to us, and then they had that little blueprint where, right, let's go and kick Arsenal at the park, intimidate them because they haven't got Vieira no more, and then when we score first, let's put men behind the ball, frustrate them, waste time, blah blah, and that's what it did. And then what happened is that teams like Birmingham went too far with Eduardo, and then teams like Stoke went too far with Ramsey. And Wenger, Arsene was very right when he says it seems that teams think they could beat Arsenal by trying to kick us off the park. And he was saying, referees, what help us out here? And it took for all right, those two players who broke the guy's legs were sent off, but it didn't have to get to that. You know what I mean? In our games where referees were letting teams, not quite cross the line, but get near the line.
Just going to read this super chat. It's regarding the game. We'll touch on it later, Jesus. But thank you for the super chat. Big up, Claude and Kenny. Agree with you on Arteta. He's not good enough. No one should judge your opinions. No, Kenny, that's right. No one. Everyone's got their opinion. They're entitled to them. I'm a bit worried about Xhaka and Ceballos. We'll come back to that later, because I think Arteta has got a bit of a dilemma today of what to pick because of the game against Benfica, and we'll go on to that in later. So, judging by that game yesterday, Liverpool-Everton, 4 defeats at home on the trot. Not happened since 1924, apparently. Quite a long time since they've lost 4 home games on the trot. I think Pickford had one of them games where he just made some amazing saves, didn't he? Made amazing saves. But unfortunately, they did lose Henderson, didn't they, as well, in that. And I don't think that helped Liverpool. But I still feel, even though everything's going, that I think Liverpool are still capable of getting. Everyone says they're not going to get even top 4 this year, but they are capable, aren't they, Kenny, of getting back into that top 4 race, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's the thing. They are capable. They've got good players still. They've still got good players. The front three is still playing well.
They showed it the other night against Leipzig. They're capable.
In Leipzig, yeah. The thing about the game yesterday, right? What killed it for Liverpool? And I know it's such a cliche and it's stating the obvious, but when Everton got that early goal where they played the through pass, basically refined over the top ball for Richarlison. After that game, Everton were able to dictate the play. They take the play where Liverpool had to come boom, 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 boom. And, in terms of like waves of attacks. And there were times when Everton were playing with fire. Decore was giving the ball away. There were times when Gomez was getting out-muscled. And Liverpool were going forward a lot. If you look at the possession stats, I reckon it was about 70-30 instead of in favour of Liverpool. They didn't do badly. They didn't do badly at all. In fact, they played well. They're the better side. But Everton had that cushion of a goal. They were They made themselves difficult to beat. They needed their goalie to have one of the games of the season, which he did, Pickford. And then what I will criticise Klopp for, because everyone's talking about Liverpool, they're saying that they haven't got Van Dijk, they haven't got Gomez, Matip's injured as well. They're having to rotate between Natty Phillips, and they got this new guy as well, and they from Schalke, and also they got Ben Davies, and they also had another youngster as well. The problem I've got with Klopp, and this was actually suggested by Craig Burley on ESPN on BT Sport early this morning. He was saying Klopp can't always use their injuries as an excuse. I think what Klopp hasn't done, he hasn't adapted to it. He hasn't changed his style of play. It's still 4 at the back, and it's still like the 4-3-3, which I admire him for. But everyone's blaming, like Thiago, people like Jamie Carragher, and I'll say this with great respect, I'm going to say it there. Jamie Carragher always seems, and I hate myself saying it, but I'm going to say it. Always Jamie Carragher, if your name's not Smith or Jones, or you're not from the British Isles, or you're not one of his favourites like Mane, Jamie Carragher will go after you. He'll criticise you. And now that's not me making an accusation. That's what I've seen in his commentary, slagging off Thiago and blah blah blah, blaming him blah for me. But he doesn't slag off his mate Mane, and I don't see him criticising any of the British style players in his team who've made mistakes for Liverpool. And I'm standing by that, Jamie Carragher. See, challenge me if you like, or any Liverpool fans, challenge me who watch from. But that's how I see Jamie Carragher's commentary. But getting back to my point about Klopp knows that he's got a young defender from Turkey, who needs a bit of help, needs bedding in, yet he's still playing that same system. The guy he bought wants to bring the ball out, yet he's still playing a back four. Why don't you, make yourselves difficult to beat, stop teams on the character? I know it might, and see if you can just maybe, all right, if you're going to play a back four, then change the way your midfield plays. Why don't you take Henderson out of well, he's injured now anyway. But what you should have done is taken Henderson out of defence, play him in some sort of a quarterback role. That way, he can still protect your defence and see if he can pick out passes. I know you're going to have. That means, all right, you might have to leave out Thiago. You know what I mean? And also, he needs to consider because he should have considered bringing Firmino back in that midfield. Where the problem Liverpool have is that teams are not even battling Liverpool in midfield. They're letting Liverpool have the ball, right? And in the last
losing there.
I don't know. I'm watching it. You're you.
I know, but I thought you might have the TV. I thought you might have the TV on in the background, Kenny. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, mate. I wish I did, but you can't.
Someone's saying they're in the mud again. Someone said Spurs in the mud again. I don't know if this is good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The trouble is with Tottenham. If Tottenham don't win a game, win 5 games in a row, they're in the mud. Mourinho's in the mud, and all these Arsenal fans who wanted him should be ashamed. You know the drill is, Claude.
Hold on a minute, Kenny. Just gonna get something.
That's all right.
Right.
Yeah, but getting back to my point about Klopp, he needs to fine tune it, because what's happening now is what teams are doing right is that they're sucking Liverpool in, putting men behind the ball, not allowing Mane in space. Like I said, Firmino lacks confidence. Salah's trying to do it all on his own, but what's happening is that they're stopping him from having shots in the box. So what's happening now is that teams are thinking, right, boom, boom. Why don't we just see if we can try and have one attack out of the box, try and target one of their defenders, the weakest defender, get the ball over the top, and see if we can nick a goal. We nick a goal, we put men behind the ball, and Liverpool are going to run out of ideas. We're going to win, and that's why they're losing games at Anfield. It's because teams have got a blueprint now where they're allowing Liverpool to attack them and see if they can nick a goal. Who's Spurs?
West Ham 1-0 up, mate. I don't know who scored. I just put it on. I just put the T on, and Antonio's through again here. 1 minute. Just crossed the nearly 2. 1-0 down, mate. 1-0 down. That Jesse Lingard is looking a player there, isn't he? He's looking better now. He's joined them. I don't know. He's looking. Let's put it in perspective. Jesse Lingard, players who go to certain clubs after they're not getting games, they make a very, very good first impression. It has to be done over a long period of time. And mate, Solskjaer's saying, look, if you perform at West Ham, you can come back to Man United. So
he's giving Lingard that carrot to come back to Man United. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably going to be his first choice. You know what I mean?
Anyway, it's 1-0 at the moment to West Ham. 10 minutes on the clock. Right. So also let's also applaud Everton as well for their performance yesterday.
Look, you got to applaud Everton. They play.
People forget, it's Liverpool, but don't concentrate on the performance Everton put in. They defended fantastic. Their defending was absolutely brilliant yesterday. Keane was absolutely superb.
Holgate played well.
Yeah, they all played
well as well.
Keane was outstanding, making some great interceptions. Pickford made a couple of fantastic saves. Yeah, even when it was 2-0, that could have been dodgy for the last couple of minutes. He made one. I think it was it from Salah where he's curled it in and
exactly. Yeah.
You've got to give credit. And Rodriguez's ball to Rodriguez's ball to
Rodriguez's ball. Richarlison could play. So
and he's looking now a good player, isn't he? That Richarlison, he's looking a really good player now.
Well, yeah, I think he took responsibility, isn't he? With Calvert-Lewin out. But if you look at Everton's last two performances, they lost 2 home games to Man City, which we kind of expected. But they got bodied by Fulham. So going into those games with Liverpool, they had a lot of proof as well. Plus, Liverpool were vulnerable because of defeats at home to their 4 defeats at home. Liverpool, going back to Everton.
Sorry, mate, go on.
No, right, what's happening? Going back to Everton, they haven't got any other manager. They got an elite manager in Ancelotti. So Ancelotti is the best. Is one of the best in the business. So it's only natural that that they were going to get that defeat. He was going to study the opposition. He was going to sort of work on how Everton were going to play, and he was going to make them difficult to beat. And plus, they got good players. But in terms of Liverpool, Klopp needs to rethink and fine tune his tactics at Anfield, or there's going to be even more humiliations for him in that ground because teams. He needs to get a situation where he needs to give teams something else to think about. Because right now, it's allows Liverpool to get into the last third, 2 banks of 4, hit them on the break, get a goal, and make yourself difficult to beat. It's a simple way of playing.
That's been the pattern in all their defeats, and it's been the pattern in all their defeats, really, isn't it? Really, if you look at it.
You know what it is, Claude? It reminded me of Liverpool pre 2019 when they won the Champions League and won the League season, where teams were using that blueprint. If you look in the 16-17 season, teams were playing like that against Liverpool at Anfield and away from home, where they were letting Liverpool do all the attacking, they were doing all the defending, hitting them on the break, then putting men behind the ball. And that was a blueprint how to beat Liverpool pre-Van Dijk and pre-Salah, if you dare I say it.
Yeah, at the moment, West Ham are really playing well at the moment. They could easily be 2 up just now.
They got a carrot, though. They got a carrot. They got a carrot, don't they? They win a day, they go above Liverpool, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Isn't it? It's unbelievable. When I watched them, when you watched them in the first game of the season, and you watch them now, it's just unbelievable. But they bought. I think they bought well as well. I do like that.
Declan Rice is playing well. Bowen's playing well for them as well. Plus, they've got you talk about Lingard, but also they've got a Bonner at centre half playing well for them as well. Fabianski looks solid in goal. What I mean. Creswell at left backs playing well. So basically, their key players are playing well.
Yeah, they're doing all right. And it just goes to show you, what can be done, all this trust the process thing and all this shit, but they're doing all right. Anyway, we'll go on to that in a minute. Fulham. Now, Fulham. I'm going to hold my... Listen, I'm going to say... He's changed things around, hasn't he? And I'll tell you what he's done. He's brought some brilliant loanees in, hasn't he? Brilliant, some good loanees he's brought. Lookman and all these... They've really changed things. I think they've got about 6 loanees in their team, haven't they? And he's turned the corner. They look as if they could actually make the miracles of staying up because they're now if I'm not mistaken, only 3 points off Newcastle. Which, hold on. Oh, Spurs nearly got one in there. Yeah, so I don't know what you think, but I thought that was a great result for them last night. I felt for this is the controversial bit now. Another controversial moment with I felt for Chris Wilder last night, because that to me is that's not only a penalty. I thought that was a sending off.
Again, yeah, but the thing is, Claude, again, it's a situation where it's subjective. You know, media influencing referees. Referees are scared to make decisions, and that was a key decision. But in terms of like what you're saying about Fulham, one of the things about Fulham now is that when they first, like I said, got promoted, the first few games they were a disaster, an absolute disaster, especially defensively, where they were trying to play the high line, trying to play teams offside. But what was happening is that one of their defenders, I'm not mentioning his name because I want to embarrass him, he kept on playing everyone onside. And that's why they were getting bodied by teams. Also, the defender, one of their defenders, used to always join attacks, i.e., like go up for set pieces. But what was happening is that when the breaking play, he couldn't get back quick enough. So he was always leaving a spare man. But I think what's happened is that Scott Parker has left that guy out of the team. He's completely changed how they play. He's like ripped out their back four. He's put some beef into the midfield, and they are looking like a team a team. Whether they got enough to stay up, I do have reservations because of the lack of goals. I need to see more goals from Loftus-Cheek. He's playing well enough. He's doing well in patches, but they need goals from him. Their front players as well. I have reservations as well whether he score goals. Mitrovic, no disrespect to him, but at this level, he's too slow at this level, at Premiership level. Maybe in the Championship he'll score goals, but at Premiership level, I do have serious concerns about whether he's going to be the sort of person who's going to score those chances and keep Fulham up. Because if Fulham had a goal scorer, we wouldn't be having this conversation about them getting relegated, because we were thinking, well, they're going to stay up and they're going to be a solid team. The problem I've got with the good thing that Fulham did yesterday is that teams like Fulham, when you do play your rivals in that respect, i.e. teams like Sheffield United, you've got to win your home games against them. And what Fulham did really well is win that home game against their rivals. And that's why, it leaves them in very good stead. So when if Fulham win their 6 pointers, then they'll be fine. They could be fine, but they need to get goals, and loads of them, a few more of them. Not loads of them, but a few more.
Yeah, So the Great Escape is still on, though, isn't it? It would be the Great Escape, wouldn't it? I remember West Brom.
You say that there's a bit of a gap, though, Claude. There's a bit of a gap because you would think Burnley have got just about enough to stay in.
No, I think the Newcastle are the ones that could be in danger here.
They've lost Callum Wilson. Is he injured, isn't it?
Yeah, and
if he's injured, then they've had it.
They seem to be enough. Newcastle seem to have enough just to get out of this, though. But you never know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? This is such a crazy weekend at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle went to Old Trafford and got a result today. To be honest with you, this is how crazy.
One of the reasons why you've got a good point about Newcastle having a chance at Old Trafford. Until Man United play like Man City, and play, and what I mean by play like Man City, and I don't mean having their strength in depth. I mean having a plan when they play. There's too much off the cuff football with Man United. Another thing that Man United do that I'll be frustrated with Man United, and I say this with great respect, Martial will really annoy me because you don't know what Martial's going to turn up. Another thing as well, Rashford would be annoying me as well because Rashford gets into so many good goal scoring positions, but he ain't clinical enough. If Rashford put some of those chances away that he misses, Man United would be challenged for the title now. And I'm not talking about all season. You look at the last 3 or 4 games, the amount of chances that Rashford has missed, especially when they're one-on-ones, that's the reason why Man United are 10 points behind Man City. And who knows, if we get bodied, it'd be 13 points before Newcastle. He needs to start taking his chances at this level. Because if he doesn't take his chances, then Man United are always going to be the nearly team. And it's not, because Cavani's he's making those runs, he's taking these chances. Rashford and Martial are
Kenny, hold on, mate. I just realised my battery. I don't know what. It's something's wrong. Hold on. Stay there a minute. Keep going, mate. Sorry.
All right, no problem. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that Rashford and Martial need to come to the party. And also, Solskjaer, what he needs to do is defensively, they will have concerns about Lindelof as well. Because Harry Maguire is the mainstay. You know, they need someone with express pace alongside Harry Maguire. And I still think Lindelof, he's a capable defender, but really and truly, they've got to stop him with Harry Maguire. They need some bit of pace and someone who's good on the ball alongside him long term. And I think that's where Man United need to be more like Man City, in the extent that look more like a team. You know, have a pattern of play and move the ball a bit quicker. And that's why I think Newcastle have got a chance at Old Trafford, because Man United miss chances, and they don't have a particular pattern of play. And defensively, there's no kind of relationship between Lindelof and Maguire. So Newcastle got nothing to fear for me. If it was away from home, Man United body him. But Old Trafford, that's why I do have concerns.
Yeah.
If I was a Man United fan.
This is a super chat, Ken. Can you answer this one for me, mate?
Yeah. Read it out.
Do you care if your bodybuilding meals are tasty, Ken?
That's a very good question. Ultimately, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to keep fit and you're trying to sculpt your body, the last thing what you want is that you want less sugar, because sugar produces sugar gives you the energy, but it also produces the fat. So you want to reduce your sugar. Obviously, you want to make it tasty. Obviously, you want to have more protein, and the trouble with protein in your body is that that's good for your muscles, so you should have them. But in terms of your health, too much protein, too much salt intake, long terms when you get to your late 40s and 50s, that's not good for your blood pressure. But if you are going for your bodybuilding, you have to. It's all about the protein, all about protein, and reducing the fat levels in your body. But if you're going for the situation where you want to just be cut as a razor, do a lot of cardio and all that, then you are going to need a bit of sugar for the energy, and you are going to need a little bit of fat, because fat produces that sort of energy and can turn to muscle power. So that's my answer. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be miserable at the kitchen table.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. In fact, all the things that you find, even on diets, like everything, all these things that are supposed to be good for you, they don't all taste nice, do they? It's true. That is true.
Well, if you look at us, you look at certain communities, immigrant communities in this country. Obviously, the Black Caribbeans and Africans, and also you've got the Asians from the South Asians, South Indians. A lot of our foodstuffs are high in certain things, high in sugar intake and high in salt intake. So that's where you get your diabetes, your high blood pressures, and all that, because of all these high ingredients, your high sodium ingredients and high glucose and high things, and that's why there is concerns, because you are what you eat. What you put in your body is going to affect your health, regardless of what they say. Obviously, alcohol, that's something you need to stay for. But food wise, I always look at the people with bland diets tend to live the longest.
Yeah, true, and that's why probably in the Mediterranean as well, because they eat a lot of this good stuff as well. They seem to They seem to go a long way, don't they, in the Mediterranean a lot. Now, talking about the game now, let's get down to the Gunners. Hold on a minute. I'm just going to get this sorted out a minute. Hold on, Kenny. Right, and it's of course the big game today, and it's regarding possibly where is it? Where's it gone now? So regarding this young man, Thomas Partey, seen yesterday training. Kenny, would you play him today? Would you?
There's an excuse not to play him. The reason why there's an excuse not to play him because, in terms of like, if you play him, then what happens is that you have to leave out Smith Rowe out of the team because it seems that Odegaard is giving us a different dimension in a side. So if you look at the midfield, Xhaka is doing in just about enough to stay in the team. Then you're going to have Partey, and then you want that sort of person who's going to find those passes that no one else sees in Odegaard, which means you play him Smith Rowe as well. You know, you don't really need Smith Rowe to try and dictate the tempo when you've got Partey there. You've got Xhaka to sort of be the sort of person who covers positions when defenders are out of position, and you've got Odegaard to basically pick the passes. What's happening is that you're going to leave yourself overloaded, like in terms of like defensive area. You're going to leave yourself short defensively if the opposition's got the ball. So, and it's going to be kind of people, how to say it, running into each other's spaces. So, in terms of Partey, if he's full, you bring him on. Maybe the last 30 or 40 minutes, we're assuming that Man City are going to body us, and we're just being realistic as football fans and Arsenal fans. But footballing wise, Man City should body us, and you're assuming right.
They should, but I've got
yeah. So you say, all right, we start how we started against Benfica and how we started against Leeds, and then you know if we're winning comfortably or it's a lost cause, then we start making substitutions to save us for Thursday.
Yeah, but I wouldn't play him because it's you've got to look at the rest of the season as well. I mean, if he comes, especially if it is hamstring or whatever, and he comes and he completely does it, straight causes more damage. He could be out for the rest of the season. So you've got to be very careful. Could be very careful here because I think, to be honest with you, I think Thursday is much more important because our season really hangs on Thursday.
The problem Arsenal got, there's a conflict of interest in terms of the football club, their needs, and obviously Thursday. There's no doubt the Europa League is our only chance of getting trophies, and you know it's our best chance of avenue to accelerate whatever process Mikel has, which I don't think there's any process, but it gives him breathing. It gives the Mikel or the next manager breathing space because they got a Champions League place and they can attract better players. I'm often thinking if your league form's not good enough to the extent that you're finishing outside the top half of the table, you shouldn't be in the job, regardless of how you do in the Europa League. That's my view. And even if you finish outside the European places, you still shouldn't be in a job because you're having a good season. That's my view, and that's going to be my stance at the end of the season, and I'll say it happily. But in terms of this season, you know, the Europa League is the most important because you don't want to be in a situation where we're in February and then what's happened mentally, the players are going to switch off. But saying that, Man City's a very important game. You know, everyone's talking about how crazy the league is. You know, you have to look at Liverpool in January. January, Liverpool was still top of the table. It was between them and Man United for the title, and Man City were just quietly going about their business. 5 weeks later,
They're the only ones putting a consistent run, aren't they?
Yeah,
Man City.
yeah,
Everyone's to and fro, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah. 5 weeks, 6 weeks later, Liverpool out of nowhere, scrambling to stay in the Champions League places, and it changes. And you like to think that as Arsenal fans and as a club, if we do beat Man City and then we overcome Leicester, things become interesting for us in the league. Now I can't see it, but at the end of the day, mathematically, it's a hard thing to do because doing your dams, leave out, make changes in lieu of Thursday, and we get bodied, and then we go and lose anyway against Benfica. Although I don't think that's going to happen, don't see it happening. Then you're at a situation where you're playing Leicester, you've got bodied by Man City, you're out of Europe, and then you're playing Leicester, who are very confident, and then mentally the players are going to think, well, hang on here, the season's over now. What am I playing for? You know what I mean? It's going to be hard for, it's going to make this whole thing precarious. And that's why, as much as I respect the fact that, Benfica's a very important game, I don't like, personally, giving Man City a bye. I want us to give Man City a game. I want us to go against Man City and win this game. It will leave a bad taste in my mouth if we're making significant changes and then we get bodied. I would find that quite upsetting.
It's a no-win situation, really, because when you think about it, if he does, what happens if he does? Say we do put full strength team and we may only lose by a goal or something, and then someone or 2 or 3 of our players get injured, 2, 3 a keeper, and then people will say, well, why didn't he pick a weakened team?
But
if you put a weakened team and get thrashed, people will still say, they'll moan about the humidity of the defeat. So I don't know. It's a hard.
One thing I was going to say, right, is that I'm not a big fan of this. Oh yeah, we don't want our players to get injured, so let's leave them out of games. Well, I'm not too funny, right? And I say this with the greatest respect to anyone who watches football and any football fan. Surely, if you cross that white line, there's a possibility you will get injured anyway. You'll get injured. You'll get injured in the League Cup game. You can get injured in the League Cup game. You can get injured in a dead rubber in the Champions League game or Europa League game. You can get injured in an FA Cup game. You can get injured in a Premiership game. So when I see players, let's protect them for injuries and blah blah. The only time I agree with leaving players out is if there's a situation, right, where they're injured going into this game. Then I think, right, you're in the red zone, you don't play, but when you're fit, I think, well, just play, get rid of yourself.
There might be a case of resting players like Smith Rowe, though, because I think he looks like he needs just a little bit of a rest at the moment. He looks to me like, but that's only because he's young. He's played a lot of the games now, big games. He's had to perform, and it suddenly looked a bit to me on Thursday. It looked a bit tired to me. So maybe
he is, and I suppose that's the situation. But I think at the moment, Smith Rowe is so vital to the way Arteta's played, because he's actually been, for Arteta, he's been a find in terms of like changing the tempo of the way we attack. And you know what I mean, like especially changing our style of play from a slow build up to a quick build up, which takes the opposition by surprise and gets the opposition on the back foot. So I suppose that's why Emil's going to be playing a lot of games for the foreseeable future until Arteta or whoever's the manager, goes and gets a big name player, which I still think we need. I know a lot of Arsenal fans say, "Oh, don't get a player, don't destroy someone's development." Well, sorry, we need to be more like Chelsea and think, we want to win. We want to get the best players available, and the best players available should be coming to Arsenal. And because if we get the best players available and build ourselves in a good team, we can win titles. That's how I think.
Our
You know,
friend of the show, Dan Potts, is coming. I'm sure it is the Dan Potts. Yeah, he says, Claude and Kenny, if Arteta loses today and Thursday, should he be sacked?
well, yes, because simple reason, not so much today, but yes, because it's a hard sell. It's a very hard sell the rest of the season because the season's going to peter away. With the and the players have got nothing to play for. Knowing Arsenal, we'll probably play our best football because when the pressure's off, we're the best in the business. We were like that under Arsene, especially when after the pressure was off from winning the league, and then when we were like comfortably getting in the top four, we played our best football. So maybe that is, but that's not going to be enough to save Arteta.
You know how critical I am of Arteta and the way things. I don't think we played that bad the other night. I think I think it's because of the situation we're in. People go a bit over OTT. I didn't think we played that bad. I thought we controlled the game. The only thing I will say is that we the chances that we missed should have put us through. And if we'd have put them chances away, I think people would have had a different outlook on the game. So the thing is, if you don't create chances, then you've got a problem. But if you're creating them, and one of these days they're all going, aren't they? So listen, Aubameyang, I thought that's why people were surprised at my marking on Aubameyang the other day. I was on Curtis's show and I gave him a 6, and they said, "Oh, that's a bit too generous." But I was also looking at his work rate in the game. You know what I mean? And getting into good positions and working the line well. That's what I was looking at as well. That's why I didn't moke him too low, although he should have put that sitter away in the first half. Yeah, let's get that right. And he had 2 other good chances. But I thought his work rate was good. I thought everything else was good about his game. Whereas in the other games where he has been poor, he didn't look interested. That's the difference to me. You know what I mean? So that's why I gave him a 6. But I didn't think the performance was that bad. I think we're still in control of the tie. I mean, I remember years ago when you drew 1-1 away. That was in Europe. That was considered a good result. But now it's like we've got to win every game away. It's not as simple as that. Let's not look. The opposition are not as bad as you think they are.
Yeah, of course.
I'm saying. And you also got to remember, another thing I got annoyed about is why wasn't that performance like against Leeds? But Benfica, if you look at their record, they've conceded 16 goals. There's a reason they've conceded 16 because they're not as open as Leeds. Why do people understand that, Kenny?
Well, I think the thing is, in terms of like, the thing is, it's like, unfortunately in this country, and it's not just Arsenal fans, it's fans in this country, we buy into this sort of, how do I say it? Buy into this mantra or feeling that the Premiership is the best league in the world and that everything outside the Premiership isn't good enough, and we buy into that. So when we do go into Europe, we don't watch the opposition enough. We underestimate them, and we assume that we should go beat teams like Benfica because Benfica are 4th in the La Liga in Portugal. But what they don't understand is the fact that Benfica will be studying us, and they'll be thinking, right, let's do what we did again. Let's make ourselves difficult to beat. Let's put men behind the ball. Let's not give Arsenal anything, and let's see if we can get on the counter attack. And they're going to play the same way this Thursday because they're going to think, all right, Arsenal got an away goal, but you know what's happened if you look in the last 5 years, 1-1 away from home counts for nothing because the away team has got nothing to lose. They've got nothing to lose. So what they'll do is that they'll still play their way. They'll still make themselves difficult to beat, and then think, you know what? Let's see how it goes in the second half. Let's look in the last half an hour, 35 minutes of the match. Then we're going to have a go. You know what I mean? And then what will happen is that they know that if they do get that goal and make 1-0 away, then they're going to be difficult to beat because the panic starts setting in. you know, and that's what Benfica will be playing for. And I think the situation as well. You're right. Leeds United were like, how do I say it, made in heaven for us, because they left themselves so open that to the extent that if we got on the front foot, then we were going to and got the goals at the right times, which we did. It's going to be difficult for Leeds United to get back into that game. You know what I mean? They're not going to change the way they're going to play, but you know, next season, I think Leeds fans and us should be worried, because there's going to be a situation where teams are going to look at Leeds next season and think, right, this is how we're going to play Leeds. They're going to work Leeds out. Look at Sheffield United. By the time last year, we were all praising Sheffield United with the sort of overlapping centre halves. You know, and the fact they'll get in the positions, they weren't scoring much goals, but they were difficult to beat because they've got numbers in the box. Teams have worked them out. Plus, if Leeds get a few injuries to key players like Sheffield have, there's going to be a situation there as well. So, Arsenal fans, you need to sort of be a bit patient with in developments on Thursday, and accept the fact that Benfica. This is not only is it Benfica's so Arsenal's last chance of probably getting the top four. It's probably Benfica's best chance of getting the Champions League as well. So it's a big game for both games, and Benfica not going to just be like, how to say it, a boxer who's brought over from Mexico or America to get beat up in the ring. They're not going to be like that on Thursday. They're going to come to win and to get into that last 16. So we need to be ready.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I couldn't agree more, Kenny. And by the way, Ricardo, by the way, says I'm turning into Ty. Listen, the minute I turn into Ty, I'll come off social media altogether. I promise.
Look. Claude, in answer to that, right? It's Ty's Ty. Ty. You've got to realise, right, is that Ty has this love of Arsenal to the extent that Arsenal's become like a family member for him. If you slag with my brother, then I'm going to fight you. And it's the same with Arsenal. He'll define Arsenal to the hills.
Yeah, but there is deciding and being realistic as well.
We all
love our football club, mate. We all love our football.
Yeah, and we do. You do, but not everyone has to support.
If we're critical, it's because we love it. Look,
not everyone's like that, though.
If my mum told me off for something I am doing wrong, it's not because she doesn't. She hates me. It's because she wants the best for me. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's all this positive and negative crap. Listen, I say as it is. When we play well, right? When we play well, I will tell you we play well, right? When we play poorly, I'll tell you what. When I think it's people are going on over the top, I'll say it. Listen, I'm not going to sit here. I have no agenda against anyone. I want what's best for this football club, yeah. And at the end of the day, these people are employees of the football club. They're no bigger than the football club. The club existed before. They'll come and go. Let's me. We, the fans, will always be there. Always be there. These players will come and go. The manager will come and go. There it is. So all this about agenda against this and that is absolute fucking nonsense. Okay.
One thing I'll say to that point, I agree with what you said, because I'm like you. I think the same way in that extent that, Dave, I want the best for the football club, and I won't accept any sort of mediocrity or I want excellence in all areas of the club, off the field and on the field. And the only way is that if you're strong off the field, then you give the manager in charge, a basis and support in order to make us strong in the field. That's what I'm after. I don't care about anything else, and I'll criticise the club in that respect. However, as much as we're asking people to be patient with our views, and as much as we get angry, people cast us aside, we have to live amongst, whether we want to or not, amongst other fans who do have that sort of, we all agree Arsenal is magic and every club is tragic sort of fans. And, people like Ty in my opinion, fall in that bracket. But he's not the only one. There's loads of people on Twitter. You know, there's another person on another podcast who does fall within that bracket. Right, and all I'm trying to say is that it's no good me saying that everyone should have their own supporters experience and support the club as they wish, in terms of any way they choose, how they go to the ground, what they wear to the ground, who they go with, or what time they get to the ground. It's their supporters experience. Then I have to follow that mantra and say, you know what, that's how they support the club. They feel that they can support Arsenal just as passionately as we do, and that we have to let them live. But the problem is that you always got to realise, right? The good people, when someone is seen as being a good fan, 9 out of 10 times they're seen as being a positive fan, and good people are allowed to get away with preaching to people like me and you because they're seen as good guys and good people, good guys, good women, good people, and you know, people like me and you have to wear that sort of nonsense. We refuse to wear it, but that's the way things are. At the end of the day, we have to support the club how we see fit, and you know, if they feel that that's the best way for them to show their passion, then crack on with it. Crack on. I don't have to live with them. I don't have to be friends with these people. I'm just going to carry on the way I want to go and support the club how I see fit. Because I think I'm supporting the club in the right way, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Kenny, how'd you last few? Oh, Jesus Christ! Nearly another one. Nearly Spurs equalising there. How do you see the lineup today, Kenny?
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same lineup. The only change I could see is Tierney coming in for Cedric Suarez, and maybe Rob Holding coming in for maybe David, or coming in for Gabriel. That's the only change that I think of in terms of the midfield. I think the midfield and the front three are going to stay the same, which is going to be harsh on players like Lacazette and Pepe, who are itching to get back in the team, who are probably thinking, well, you know, I didn't do much wrong, but you know, because Aubameyang's back, I'm not getting a game, and because we lost narrowly to Wolves and Villa, you know, he's made changes again, but it's all about trying to fit Ødegaard into that team, and once you try and fit Ødegaard into that Arsenal midfield and team in general, then there's going to be casualties, and one of the casualties is invariably going to be a Lacazette or a Pepe.
Yeah. By the way, half time at West Ham 1, Tottenham 0. Tottenham in the last 20 so minutes really pressing for that equaliser, but
they've got good players.
One shot on target, and that was Harry Kane right at the end, I think. Yeah. So when you've got Harry Kane and Son in your team, you've always got hope, haven't you? Really, you've got always hope. I wouldn't be surprised, and this I might throw one in here. I wouldn't want him. I don't like it. I wouldn't be surprised if Willian gets a game today, if he plays.
Well, the thing about the Willian situation is everyone's entitled to their opinion, including the manager. Now, I'm not going to body Willian. The reason I'm not going to body Willian is because, you know, I'm stunned at his performances because I saw a very good player at Chelsea, and I still think that maybe could be a good player at Arsenal. I don't know what's going wrong. Maybe it's because we play a different way for Chelsea. Maybe we're not on the front foot enough. Blah blah, and it's just a confidence thing where, you know, by this time stage of the season, he's got a few goals and he's got a few assists, and that hasn't happened for Willian. You know what I mean? But saying that, football's a ruthless game, and he's not doing it. And he's, you know, I'll be surprised if he plays, but you know, I'm not going to body him because the other day, people like myself have been accused of bodying certain players, and the last thing I want to do is body him and get accused of the same thing. And two, I still feel there's a good player in there.
Right, there's a super chat in here. Is this City better than the City that won the domestic treble? Also, City's supposed to be a marquee showcase for players. No excuse not to show up. Yeah, would you say they're better than the domestic treble that they've done, this team? It's hard to say. No, I don't think you can judge that until they've actually won something. See, it's a problem. They might end up winning just the which would be a great achievement. No one's they look like they're going to win the league, but if they just win the league and at the end of the season,
they are. You know, I'm going to say no because I thought the teams of I thought the team of 17-18 was probably one of the best Premiership teams I've ever seen. And some argue it's the best. It's the best. You know, it's up there with a lot of great Premiership sides. I thought the Liverpool side who won the title last year was a fantastic Premiership side, one of the greats as well. I think our side in 2002 was one of the greatest sides ever. And you know, Man United's team of Man United sides of 1994 was one of the great. Was great side as well. But in terms
you could argue going back that the '89 team, what they achieved because that Liverpool team. I'm not being funny. That Liverpool team was a fantastic team.
Yeah,
for them to go to Anfield and win the league like that, and throughout the whole season, and to keep up with Liverpool the whole season, and to win it at Anfield, I think that team's got to take a look.
Definitely. But the 1991 team was better. So, but if we talk about but you know, one of the reasons why I'm not going to say no to that question is that I thought Man City's team in 2019 was probably their best achievement in terms of what they won. And the reason why I say it because Liverpool were pushing them all the way. You know what I mean? Liverpool got 90. Remember, Liverpool got 97 points in 2 seasons ago and finished seconds, 1 point behind Man City. So Man City had to be up for every game in those last 10 games. Liverpool won all their games. So I think in terms of achievement, that's even better because the pressure they're under, and they still managed to go and win the League Cup and still win the FA Cup in ruthless style as well. So that's a great achievement. In terms of this City side, you know, City fans can argue, well, hang on here. Everyone's writing us off. You know, everyone's praising Liverpool, talking about Liverpool's injuries, praising Man United. We've won it, coming back as well. But one thing I would say about Man City fans, if Man City do win the league, and I think they probably will Arsenal fans call them the COVID champions, like they call Liverpool fans the COVID champions? Because I just want to add one more thing. One thing I'm saying in terms of Arsenal fans, I don't understand our fans hate for Liverpool or Liverpool Football Club, because at the end of the day, I hate Spurs with a passion that I could die for because they're Tottenham and I was brought up to it and I understand the hate for them. You know what I mean? But in terms of Liverpool, they're never going to be our rivals. You know what I mean? In a way that Spurs are. You know, when I was a kid, I used to hate West Ham. We were brought up with West Ham because of other things I'm not going to discuss on this panel. And also Chelsea because they've taken our thunder. But in terms of Liverpool, it seems like with more the hate for Liverpool is not to do with Liverpool Football Club. It's because they're fans. I don't have rivalries with other fans except for Spurs because both of us share a location in a part of London, and because we both been brought up to think that others the bad club. That's why I never understand why certain Arsenal fans hate Liverpool as much as they hate Tottenham, or hate Man United as much as they hate Tottenham. Sorry, only Tottenham are rivals. You know, your rivalries with the fans that you encounter in the London Reds, i.e. London Man United fans and London Liverpool fans. That's not to do with the rivalry. That's your rivalry, your personal rivalry, or because you think that Liverpool fans and the city of Liverpool is something else, which I'm not going to discuss because I'm not going to insult Liverpool by saying that. So I don't understand this. I don't get it. I wasn't laughing when Liverpool lost to Everton. I wasn't laughing when they get beat. In fact, if you look at Everton Football Club, some of the things their fans have done over the years have been quite questionable. And I'm not going to go into that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. Let's get. By the way, thank you, Bargav, for that comment. donation, mate. Thank you as well. And there's another one from Randy again. He says, "Can't get it up anymore off when you're old." When I don't want to forget it. I'm not reading that. Thank you, though, Randy.
Just thank you for the donation.
Jesus, wait me to read that, mate. Come on, do it. Thank you, though. Anyway, for the donation. Kenny, I've got a feeling about today. I've got a funny feeling, a great feeling that we're going to win today. And
someone's got to beat City, haven't they?
It's a crazy set. It's a crazy week. It's a crazy season, but it's a crazy weekend as well. I have this I've got this feeling that says to me that we're going to win this 2-1. Don't ask me why. I just feel that.
You got some reasons. You got some reasons.
City, this is my reason. I think Man City will definitely rest a few, and I know you're going to say that what comes in, but they might bring players in like De Bruyne now who are not quite 100%. And we saw last season when in the FA Cup he was absolutely awful, wasn't he, against us in the FA Cup last year? And I just get that feeling that they'll probably change it a lot, and maybe actually a bit of complacency as well. And I just got that feeling that we'll come out the blocks and we'll win 2-1. There we go.
That's a very good analogy, and I do get you thing because every team's beatable. I don't care what anyone says. In any form of sport, you're beatable. You know, I watch a lot of. You know, I'm a passionate boxing fan, and I'm not a believer that any fighter is unbeatable. The only reason why certain fighters have unbeaten records is because they spend a lot of times out of the ring. Two, they've picked their fights. But I tell you one thing: everyone's got a weakness that can be exploited, and Man City have got them as well. The only problem we've got is that Man City are on it; they're at it all the time, to the extent that the player they can make 3 or 4 changes and it wouldn't make a difference because the players who come in know that they have to maintain those standards to stay in, not just in Pep's team, it's Pep's squad. They have to win every game at Man City. There's no such thing as dropping points. Pep weren't allowed to do that. Doesn't matter. And even when you win games, Pep is still micro-coaching you. You have to look at what happened with Sterling in the FA Cup final when they beat Watford 6-0. He was still micro-coaching Sterling because he said, "Well, you didn't do this." Sterling scored a couple of goals, but he didn't make that run. He didn't pass that ball quickly enough. That's how they are at Man City. The standards are really high. And when standards are high, losing to anyone isn't acceptable. And that's why you look at Man City made changes at Goodison Park. Still didn't make a difference. Still, the players that came in like the Mahrez bang. Remember Gundogan, who's actually stepped up to the plate when De Bruyne has been at, had a bit of a knock at start against Man City. Someone else took his place. Boom. Foden, as much as you praise Foden, and insist that he's having a great game, Foden can't afford to have a bad game in that scene because he knows that he'll be left out. You know, like someone like Bernardo Silva or Mahrez will say, "Thanks, mate. Thanks for and that's the problem we've got today is that Man City will still be out. Guardiola isn't thinking about Mönchengladbach. He doesn't think about that. As far as Guardiola's concerned, the league hasn't been won yet. And that's the problem we've got, is that Man City will be at it. And even if they be at it, because his attitude is, if you're not 100% focused, then you don't play in my team.
Yeah.
And that's why I still think that they're going to be strong.
I just want to give everyone some hope, anyway.
Well, of course you can. You're allowed to.
And you know, and that is my hope that scenario happens, and that will get us. And I'll tell you what, a win today will put us in really good stead for Thursday as well, because that will be the momentum, the confidence. And that would be good for us on Thursday as well. So
yeah, I think
you're. You know what? I'm starting to think you should play a full strength team, because that will give us as you say, the confidence to go on Thursday as well. So, you know, we're a bit about bloody tired. I mean, they'd rather play anyway than train as well. Anyway, so I don't know.
Look, the other day,
I think that's all in the mind. All this tiredness and all this. But anyway,
look, players are going to get tired, and it's a situation, and managers will be able to see that, and then they'll dictate how many minutes they start. But the thing with making so many changes is that not every team's like Man City. Like Man City make a few changes. Everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet of that team. To the extent that the style of play doesn't change, and players are adaptable. But Arsenal and other clubs, in normal clubs, there is an issue.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm gonna leave it at that. I just thought that that's how I can actually see it. Listen. Thanks, Kenny. It's a bit of a long one. Sorry to keep you on so long today, mate. I think we had a few.
Don't apologise, mate. Don't apologise. I'll get a shot of me guns, mate.
Yeah, I noticed you're doing a bit of a showcase there, mate.
Just for you,
anyway.
mate.
Yeah, I wish I could be like that, but no. Anyway, never mind.
You can, Claude. You can.
I'm a bit past it.
Get your health right. Yeah, but the thing about it is that you've got a double-edged sword.
Kenny, I wanted to go. I was all set to go back in that gym, and then all this carry on happened again. So,
who needs the gym? All right.
Once the gym is open, I'll be back. I'll be there.
Yeah, Claude, can I just say something? What were your forefathers in Italy doing before the gyms? They were going for runs. They're going for walks. They're doing press-ups at home.
Yeah,
you can still do it. Your health. If your fitness determines your health, it makes you immune to certain illnesses and certain conditions which can end your life.
It's hard. It's easier for me, and everyone is different. It's easier for me to be motivated more if I'm in a gym.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's a mental thing. I agree. It's a mental thing, and it's not easy because another thing as well is that there's always people always think, well, I could do it tomorrow. I'm tired now. I have more energy tomorrow, and I do get where you're coming from.
Right, Kenny, I'll let you get back to watch the second half of the West Ham Spurs, which should be good. Oh, Gareth Bale is coming on, I think. So yeah, Gareth Bale's coming on. So
if that's one player that needs a bomb up his arse, that's probably Gareth Bale. He spent the last 2 years sulking because he can't get a game. Well, football's a ruthless sport. And it's a results business, Gareth. So all me cousins support Tottenham, who are telling me that he's the best thing since sliced bread, and that they're going to challenge now the Messiah was coming back. Well, I say to my cousin Michael, who lives in Dagenham, even though he's Tottenham. I'm going to say to you, Michael, mate, I know you're watching this. Gareth Bale needs to prove to you that he's hungry enough and that he's still in love with the game. Because as far as I'm concerned, he ain't in love. He looks like a player that's fallen out of love with football.
Right. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and thanks, Kenny, for coming on. Thank you all in the chat. Be back later, of course, the big one, the big Manchester City, the watch along 4:15 with Terry and I think Diesel. So watch out for that, 4:15. Kenny, thanks once again for coming on. Where can people reach you on? Is it on Twitter? Kenny Ken
1972, and on Instagram it's Kenny Ken 1972 as well.
Good man. And of course, Kenny does all that. Tell them what you do on the Instagram, Kenny.
Oh, what I do is I do. I'm not allowed to say what I do because I'll get in trouble with Instagram.
Oh, right.
What I do is but you know what we end of the day I do. Just check my stories. You'll love my stories, Matchday stories. I don't just do Matchday stories. I don't just do Arsenal games. I do every game. So check my Matchday stories.
Matchday stories.
Arsenal games and other big games as well. Also, most importantly as well, please also check my Instagram because I do.
What a start! Second half. Jesse Lingard. Jesse
2-0.
Lingard, 2-0 West Ham.
I better get out of here then.
Flags up, sorry, flags up.
I better get out of here. Anyway, cool. As I was saying before,
I think he's allowed.
Yeah,
He's allowed.
check me Instagram videos because I do starting lineups and also I do post-match comments. So check all of that. Follow me on Instagram. It should be fun. I'm very opinionated.
Oh, that's on.
So I'll speak to you later.
Oh, hold on, that's on, isn't it?
Hey, Claude, let me go so I can watch the football.
Right. Take care. Bye, mate.
See you later, mate.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye.